The silent voice that moved the world. Maybe you've met someone who speaks without sound. Maybe you've walked past a life that looks empty and missed the fire inside. Listen closely. Some voices travel farther in silence than shouts ever do. Once upon a time there was a woman named Lena. 10 years earlier she stopped speaking. People called her useless and broken. Some shook their heads when she passed. Even family grew tired and gave up on change. But Lena was not empty. She worked a small garden behind her house. She watered tomatoes in straight lines and pulled weeds with steady hands. She walked to the market with a basket on her arm and paid for rice and soap and salt with exact coins. She smiled, she nodded, she said nothing. No one knew she was writing letters. Every week, always on the same day, she sat at a small table and wrote with a clean blue pen. The letters were simple and strong. She wrote about pain like a stone in the shoe, about life like a river that bends around rocks, about hope like a lamp that stays burning when the room goes dark. She folded each page carefully. Then she went to the fig tree at the edge of the path, knelt in the shade, dug a small hole with a spoon, slipped a letter inside, and pressed the dirt flat with her palm. No one saw her, not once. In the same village lived a boy named Sammy, 12 years old and made of bright questions. He asked why the sky changed color and why grown-ups forgot their own dreams. Adults told him to stop talking. He didn't. Words lived in him like sparrows in a hedge. One afternoon a storm rolled over the hills. Wind shook the roofs and hammered the trees. Sammy ran outside to pull down his kite, but the string snapped and the kite flew wild across the field. He chased it, slipped in the mud, and fell hard near the fig tree. When he stood, he noticed the ground disturbed. A corner of paper showed through the soil. He knelt, wiped away mud with his sleeve, and pulled out the letter. The rain had smudged the ink, but the words still breathed. He read slowly. He didn't understand everything, but he felt a weight and a warmth, as if the paper carried a heart. He tucked the page under his shirt and ran home. Sammy showed the letter to his older cousin. She read once, then again, her eyes widened. She typed the words into her phone and posted them online with a simple caption. A letter found under a tree. By morning, the letter had traveled everywhere. People wrote that the lines felt like a hand on the shoulder. They asked who had written them. They begged for more. "We have to find the author," the cousin said. Sammy agreed. In the city, a journalist read the letter while standing on a crowded train. The car rocked and squealed, but the words held him still. He asked where the letter came from. He borrowed a car and drove to the village. He walked the lane, spoke to shopkeepers, and sat on a bench near the market. An old woman with careful eyes finally said, "The silent one. Lena walks to that fig tree every week." The journalist waited in the shade. The hours passed quietly. In late afternoon, Lena appeared with her basket. She knelt at the roots of the fig, dug a little hole, placed a folded page inside, and smoothed the earth with the back of her hand. She stood, brushed her skirt, and walked away. Only then did the journalist approach. He lifted the letter, opened it, and read. The page was calm and bright. It spoke of loss without bitterness and of hope without noise. He went to her house. Lena's sister opened the door. "She cannot speak," the sister said before he asked. He showed the letter. He told the story of the tree. The sister read and covered her mouth. "These are hers," she whispered. "She writes every week. We thought it was only a way to pass time." The journalist wrote a feature and called it The Silent Voice. He quoted Lena's pages word for word. The story moved like wind through tall grass. People cried. People smiled. People said, "I feel seen." Visitors came to the village and stood outside Lena's gate. They left notes of thanks. They slipped little flowers into the fence. Lena waved from the window and pressed her hand to her heart. A book publisher called. They asked to print the letters and titled the collection Letters from Silence. The book found its way to buses and hospital rooms, to quiet kitchens and noisy dorms. Readers underlined paragraphs and folded corners. They wrote to the publisher and to the journalist, and to the cousin who had posted the first letter. "Please tell her she saved a life today." Lena sat for interviews. Lights shone, cameras blinked. She did not speak. She smiled and nodded. When questions came, a page with careful handwriting answered them. People leaned closer. They listened with more attention than many shows receive with fireworks and sound. They heard patience. They heard courage. They heard a steady truth that did not need a tongue. Some tried to guess the story behind Lena's silence. The book did not explain it. The journalist did not ask for what she did not wish to give. The letters were enough. They held grief like a bowl that does not spill. They held hope like a door left open. They held a deep respect for quiet people whose hands are full of work. and whose mouths stay closed, not because they are empty, but because they are carrying something heavy and precious. Months later, Sammy brought his repaired kite to the field near the fig tree. He flew it and laughed and then let the string rest in his palm. He thought of the day the storm knocked him down and opened the ground. He thought of his cousin typing at the table and of the first 1,000 comments, then the first million. He walked to the tree and found a small envelope tucked in the bark. Inside, a single line in Lena's handwriting read, "Thank you for listening. Here is the lesson, clear as daylight and strong enough to hold. Many people are judged by what they cannot do. Some are quiet, some are slow to speak, some are broken in places no one can see. The world moves fast and rewards loud voices, sharp jokes, and bright noise. But silence has power. Sorrow can teach wisdom. A person who does not shout may carry the truest words in the room. Do not measure a life by volume, measure by truth. Look for the ones who write, serve, and love without wanting a stage. Look for the hands that mend, the feet that walk, the extra street, the eyes that notice. Never ignore the quiet one. Never laugh at the silent soul. You do not know what gifts they hold or who might be saved by a page they buried under a tree. And if life has pushed you into silence, keep going. Let your actions speak. Let your craft, your care, your kindness tell the story your mouth cannot say yet. When you meet someone overlooked or unheard, slow down and look deeper. The voice of the heart can cross a world without making a sound. Silence, when filled with truth, can echo forever. If this story moved you, stay for more stories that honor quiet courage. Consider subscribing and sharing this with someone who needs a reason to keep believing.